the inside details of the India-China bilateral talks. We have learned that External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and his counterpart Wang discussed Ladakh standoff, and Jaishankar clearly told the Chinese Foreign Minister that disengagement is must before normalcy in the ties is reached upon. So India-China discussed the Ladakh standoff and the situation on the LAC. The line of actual control was discussed between Jaishankar and the Chinese counterpart Wang. The total disengagement before normalcy is a must, is a clear message that India has told China. The message conveyed by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to the Chinese Foreign Minister. Meanwhile, joining us live on the story now is Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor on the phone line. Abhishek, a very good morning to you. Now, India has once again sent out a stern message to China that normalcy, before we arrive at normalcy, it is must that China put its act together.
Well, absolutely. So, this is a meeting that has taken place between External Affairs Minister and the Chinese FM on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Astana, Kazakhstan. And this level of contact and delegation level talks between the two sides have happened after a long gap, possibly after 2 years. And in fact, the two leaders had met on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference in the month of February this year, but that was more like a polar side and a small talk kind of thing, but this is more full-fledged delegation level talk. And there, as per information coming in and as per the Ministry of External Affairs, the two leaders had a very deep dialogue on the ongoing standoff between India and China in the eastern Ladakh along the line of actual control, which has been happening since Galwan clash of 2020. And the External Affairs Minister clearly said that total disengagement from the remaining areas in eastern Ladakh is something which is sort of a precondition. Not sort of a precondition, is actually the precondition for restoration of peace and tranquility across the border. And in fact, that is one thing, total disengagement, which is going to remove all obstacles in terms of normalcy returning to bilateral relations. Remember, while the Chinese have been harping on the issue of normalizing other aspects of the relationship, particularly the trade aspect, which is a big component of India-China relationship. India has been insisting that you first normalize the situation along the line of actual control, by which India means that there has to be total disengagement and a status quo ante established from April 2020 and before that. So I think in that sense, this seems like a substantial move by both the sides, because the ME note that the two ministers agreed to step up meetings between their diplomatic and military teams and under the framework of the working mechanism on consultation and coordination that exists between the two sides on the border. And these talks have sort of petered off over a few months. Earlier, they were happening almost every alternate month between the diplomatic side and the military side. But we have not heard of them for almost 4 or 5 months or even more. And now with the two ministers deciding that the WMCC mechanism should be restored, which means some move forward has happened. At least this level of dialogue has taken place. So it can be expected that with the kind of exchange of notes that has happened between Jaishankar and Wang Yi, some directions would be given to the respective teams, the diplomats and the military officials to start engagement and to look for complete and total disengagement along the line of actual control in the eastern Ladakh sector. I think this should be seen as an important move forward coming in, given the fact that there was sort of a stalemate in terms of even top level engagement happening between the two sides. Remember, Prime Minister was supposed to go for the SCO summit. This is the heads of the state, heads of the government meeting, and he couldn't because of the ongoing parliament session. And the SCO summit coincided with the last couple of days of the parliament session. The Prime Minister had to speak on the motion of thanks to the President's address. And instead, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has gone, and the way he has engaged the rest of the leadership, particularly this important bilateral panning out, I think it's an important diplomatic takeaway out of India's engagement in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. essentially seen as Chinese backyard because Central Asia and all these states, erstwhile members of the USSR, now, of course, a little more under the sway of China. I think this is a good move forward, the statement that has come out of the MEA on the bilateral that took place between EAM and the Chinese FM.